Hello, all. In our previous session, we discussed about data conversions, right? What is data conversion and what are the different techniques we have? So, what are the BDC? We can use
BAP.
BDC, we can use BAPI, LSMW, and in some
Direct
cases, we
table.
use direct table updates. When we have a transaction code to simulate using BDC, or when we have a BAPI function module to update the data. In this case, instead of direct table update, since they are custom tables, there may not be any standard BAPIs available, right? To update these custom tables. If they are standard tables, for example, if you take sales order tables, we have BAPI, sales order create BAPI to create the data in standard tables without using screen processing, right? But in case of custom tables, so there may not be any BAPI available, right, for standard tables to update the standard tables with data. In this case, we can create our own BAPI. That is called custom BAPI function module we can create. Or we can, without any BAPI function module, we can use direct table update statements like insert, update, modify, or delete. Okay. So when we are discussing about direct table updates, we are going to see how we are going to insert the records, delete the records, and modify the records. Okay. So instead of
Okay,
using these direct statements, you can also create a custom BAPI for these operations. Okay. So you can have all the validations and then you can update the tables once all the validations are successfully completed. Okay.
okay,
Okay. So in case of data migration, what is the input? Usually, what is the input for a data migration program?
files.
Files. That might be a text file, nothing but notepad files or Excel files. MS Microsoft Excel files or CSV files. What is a CSV file?
Comma separated
Comma
file.
separated file. So the data will be like this 100 comma like this. Data will be like this. What is the file extension? File extension will be .csv. Okay. So for this kind of comma separated files, the file extension will be .csv. Okay. For text files .txt, for Excel files XLS. So this is comma separated file. So you can access these comma separated files in Excel also, Microsoft Excel also. Okay. But let's take the text file. Most cases, like to transfer the data, right, between SAP to other systems, we use text files, .txt files, or data files, .dat files. Both are same, text or data. Okay, we use these files. How we are going to maintain data in the text files? If you maintain like this, 100 name city, how the program can understand what is the employee ID, what is the name, and what is the city. File formats can be anything. There might be multiple file formats available. There are multiple file formats available. Depends on the receiver who is receiving our files. Depends on their requirement. We may need to design our file, right? I'll show you one by one. The first example, first let's discuss about text files. If you take Excel files, it is straightforward. In each column, you maintain a separate field, right? Let me show you. Take one blank. So empid name, like that you might have more than 50-60 columns also, depends on the requirement, and we maintain data in a separate column. If it is Excel file, right, it is straightforward, no confusion here. But if you take text file, so each column is for a field, employee ID, employee name and city. But if you take text file, how the program can identify which data it needs to place in which type structure
Which
column. For example, data is like this, name 100. Now tell me, what is name here? What is the employee ID value here? What is the name value here? What is the city value here? How can you identify? First you guys tell me, then we can convert it into the program. How program can identify? When you upload this file, this data has to be converted into internal table, right?
yes, sir.
To convert into internal table, let's say that internal table contains three fields, employee ID, employee name and city. Now, how we are going to map this file data into internal table fields?
By type structure.
By type structure, we have taken three fields, employee ID, employee name and city. Now tell
Yes.
me how the program can identify what is employee ID, what is name and what is city.
Should separate by any separators.
Hmm.
Um,
Right. We should provide some separator, right?
yes, sir.
Now, when we read this complete record or complete line, we can split this data wherever we find this separator. Now, when we split this data, it's going to split into three different fields, right?
Yes, sir.
One here, and one here. First one into employee ID, second one into employee name, third one into city. We're going to populate, right?
Yes,
Separator
sir.
can be anything. In some cases, we take this pipe separator. In some cases, we take comma separator. In some cases, we take comma separator. Depends on the requirement and depends on the data. We need to identify a proper separator. So you may ask, like, why we can't take comma every time? Why we need to check for all different separators? Let's assume we have one more data, that is city address data. Address is like this: street 1, comma, maybe like this, door number 2, 2-5, comma, street, comma, some pin code, comma, in. Now tell me, we have one field, that is address. In type structure is like this: empid, emp name, city, address, right? We have four fields. The address data we have to populate into address field, city we have to populate into city, employee name into employee ID, sorry, employee name, and employee ID should be goes to employee ID field. Now tell me, if you take comma separator, is it going to work? When we split
No, sir.
record into empid, emp name, city, address, at where we need to split in single quotes, comma. Now when I split this record, into these fields, employee ID, employee name, city, and address, is it going to properly populate the data? Now I have a comma separated here, comma separator here in the file. It is going to work properly. Now data, when after the split, the data will be like this. In employee ID 100, name, city. Hmm. Now what about the address? What value it's going to populate here in address field?
First,
5. That's it.
yes, sir.
It's going to split here and it's going to take it as address, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's going to
Yes, sir.
separate, when since we are using comma separator, it's going to separate the complete address into 1, 2, 3, 4 fields, 4 different fields, right? It's not going to consider the complete value as single field. Since we are using commas, this is not a separator actually. This is part of address. We are using commas to separate the street, door number, street number, and pin code. But this is not the actual file separator. This is part of the data, right? But if you take comma separator in this example, is it going to work properly? Can we capture the complete address?
No, sir.
No. Or we need to use four more fields here. Address 2, address 3. Even though we don't need this many fields, we need to use to capture all these values, address values, and later we need to combine these 5 fields into one single field, right? Because the address is a single field value. It is using commas to separate the street and city, but the value is address, right? In this case, comma separator is not suitable or not recommended, right? Because we have commas in the value, right? We have commas in the address value, right? In
Sir,
this
if
case,
we use if
sorry.
we if we use space instead of comma in between the field data,
Yeah, if you use space, let's take name will be like this, right? First name space last name.
yes.
Now it's going to consider name as 2 different fields,
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Yes, sir.
If you use space here, right?
Yes, sir.
For example, if you use at the date symbol like this as a separator.
For this particular address field, sir, if you use a space instead of comma
Ah,
to,
you can use, but that's what. If you use space here,
sir.
name can contain a space, right?
Yes, sir.
You are trying to fix address and it's going to disturb name,
Oh, okay.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
as you said, address will be fixed.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
You're going to fix the address, but name contains space, right?
Yes, sir.
It's going to
Yes,
be, it's going to split name into
This,
two different variables.
yes, sir.
It's going to consider only this as name,
Name.
right?
Yes, sir.
If you take at the date, for example, if you have any email in your records, then
yes,
it's not going to take complete email value,
Yes,
right?
sir.
If you use at the date
Until
symbol.
the
So how you are going to decide the separator? First, you have to analyze the data, right?
yes, sir.
And you have to identify a separator which is not
Use it
part of any
in
values, right?
Yes, sir.
For example, if you take this pipe symbol, we are
Going
not
to
using
the
anywhere,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So this can be taken because this pipe symbol we are not using any in any values,
New values.
right? Now you can use commas. Now it will consider this complete data as a single field. When
Okay,
we
sir.
use pipe, split it this,
Yes, sir.
right? That is one way of doing this, right? To identifying proper separator by analyzing the data, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's say the vendor, whoever receiving the file, so don't want to do all this analysis and he is not sure about the special characters or separators, whatever populating in the data, right? He's not sure about what are the values that is populating with the separators, like separators like values. If you use pipe, if you use pipe as separator, even though you are using pipe separator, the receiver is not sure about the repeated or pipe like this value can be available in this any of the field or not. You don't know, right?
Yes, sir.
At that
Yes.
time, what is the other alternative approach instead of using separator? I'll show you. Now I'm removing the separator. Now observe how to capture or how to split the data into corresponding fields if you are not using any separator.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So you guys created a table, right, for employee master.
Yes, sir.
What is
Yes,
the
sir.
what is the maximum length of employee ID?
30,
What is the maximum length of employee ID you have provided?
15,
Is that to
10, I guess, right?
10.
10, right?
Okay, sir.
Now in the file, I'm going to accommodate 10 character space for employee ID like this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this space is allocated for
ID of the 10.
employee ID. Now
Yes,
take
sir.
employee name. 3,
For
4, 7.
names.
I think it's 40.
Yes, sir.
Let's
40.
assume 10 or maybe 20. 7,
Okay.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16,
15
17, 18, 19, 20. So 20 characters of space
is
I've
provided for
allocated for
name. Name.
name. Now city.
City.
Some
20,
characters for city.
15. Yes, sir.
For address,
40,
let's
sir.
take some 40 characters.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now,
40.
here we don't need to use any separator. But in the program, how the program is able to read this record, that is, for example,
Outbound.
we converted, we read this data. After reading this
Yes.
data, how we are going to convert this record into individual fields like this. LV underscore emp id equal to, we use offset concept here.
Offset.
LV record 0 of 10. What is this? This called offset. So this record contains this complete record. Okay. Now we
Yes,
are
sir.
going to split the data into individual fields.
Record plus one of
1 of
10?
1 of 15.
no
10 of.
Starting
Now,
from 10th character.
Okay, sir.
Starting from here, how many characters is
Hmm.
the name?
11th
20.
character.
20.
From here to here,
Uh,
20 characters.
yes,
Right?
Starting.
sir. Got it.
This is
Okay.
called offset. Please remember, we use this
Yes, sir.
frequently in our programs.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
We can apply this on date, like to
Hmm.
read, like to capture only date, month, year. We can use this offset concept. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the next field? City, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. City. Shall we record plus 30 of
30 off.
30 of
10, 20, 30.
of
Beginning at 30th position.
yes,
30 of
30 of 15.
some 40 or 50. Okay, whatever the maximum length allocated for address. Okay,
80.
in the file.
It's yes, sir.
So like this,
Eh,
by using this fixed length, we can read the data from the text files.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so there
Yes,
are
sir.
different approaches when we are using data migration programs or when we are working with the files. We have to observe all these things. What is a separator?
Yes,
Or
sir.
when we are preparing a file, let's assume we are creating, someone asks you to create a program to send the SAP data to some external system, right?
Yes, sir.
In the form of file. Then you have to analyze what is the data you are sending, what are the characters or what are the data types of the each field, right? What is the suitable separator for your file? You need to identify that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if that file data contains different special characters, different separators, commas, at the date symbols, right? In the values, right? Then
Yes, sir.
if you are not sure about, if you are
40.
not sure about like some specific special characters is going to be populated into the value or not in future, you're not sure about it. At that time, you can go with this fixed length
Offset.
fields, right?
Yes, sir.
Now it's not going to check for any separator. It will select only by
Length.
length,
Yes.
right? That is one
Yes,
way of
sir.
doing it. For when we do this, we use offset to read the values, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll show you one
Offset.
example for offset. What is the SAP's internal date format?
SS is
Why,
data.
why, why?
Yeah.
The data.
What is the SAP's internal date format and external date format?
Internally,
Hmm.
why? MM.
The
Everyone is saying
no,
one word.
no.
Someone is saying and someone is saying YY.
Internal format is radio and external separators.
With separator, right?
Dot. Yes, sir.
Dot slash hyphen, that depends
No.
on the user settings. If you go to
Yes, sir.
SQ01, you can check that. What is the user settings you have? But internal date format is same in any system, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's assume we are populating some date value to this variable. Now I want to know the month. Now I want to know the month. Tell me how can you read only month?
5 of 2.
Hmm. Tell me.
5.
4, 4 of
4 of 2,
2,
right?
2. Yes, sir.
Starting from the fourth position, next two characters,
2, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, not 4 of 4, 4 of 2, right?
Yes, sir.
To know the year,
0 of 4.
0 of 4.
mm,
0 of 4.
for a day, if you want to know the date,
6,
2.
6 of 2.
6 of 2,
Yes, sir.
right? This is how we are
Yes.
going to read the values. Okay, you can apply this offset on different character type data for different requirements. Okay, if you want to read a specific value in between
Mm.
a record or in between a line, you can use this offset. Okay,
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
now tell me, is it going to work? It's going to work. No,
Mm.
you'll get runtime exceptions if you use like this. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
so you are exceeding the maximum
Length.
length. Okay, you're
Okay, sir.
exceeding the maximum length.
The,
You need to make sure not to exceed the maximum length of the character. Okay,
yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
that's one way of like using offset or using. We have one more approach. We can use a tab separator, tab space, tab space. Okay,
Yes, sir.
like this. One tab space. We can also use this separator, tab separator, right? So how to choose a separator? It depends on the receiver. Is he able to access the file with the tab separator or not? Is he able to access
Okay.
the file with fixed width characters or not? Is he able to file with the pipe separated data or not? If we
Yes,
use
sir.
pipe separated data, is there any issue in future? Is there any chance of populating that pipe symbol in any field values so that
Um,
it will populate the incorrect data, right?
sir.
So you have to do all these analysis.
Separator.
Now, so we have two operations here. You can upload the file into internal table and you can download the file into the internal table data into local file. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you can upload the data, file data into internal table and you can download internal table data as a file into your local system.
5. Yes, sir.
Right? This is one approach. This is local file into your local system. If you want to upload it into server, application server, what is the T code for application server?
LP A11.
A11. FTP folder. If you want to upload the
Mm.
data to FTP folder, then what we do?
A11 only.
Read A11 file to iTab and post file data to AL11. Here, to post the file notepad file or excel file data to A11. Here also we need to convert local file data into our internal table data into one file format,
Applic- yes, sir.
right? So here what we are doing, we are reading the file which is available in the server to internal table and posting
Posting the file to
like
this
this itab
server.
data to A11 file.
Post.
Make it simple. A11 file to itab
And
data to
A11.
A11.
Like inbound and
Yeah,
outbound.
inbound and outbound. The
Okay.
Yes,
first one
sir.
is
First one, inbounds.
In,
no, this is out.
in
Sorry, this is inbound.
reading.
First one is inbound.
Yes,
So
Yes,
we are
sir.
reading the file into our SAP internal table,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Second one is outbound.
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 We are sending the data to a application server from
Yes,
SAP.
sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Some vendor systems will pick that file and process that data using some middleware tools. So in SAP, we have a middleware tool that is SAP PI, process integration tool, or cloud platform integration tool. So those tools will pick that file and process that to vendor. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But our responsibility is to post the data to application server or read the data from application server to internal tables. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Let's create a simple program to upload the text file. What is the
Yes,
prerequisite?
sir.
We need a
Okay.
file with some data.
Data.
First, I'll take tab separator. I'm not using any
Yes, sir.
separator, but I'll take tab space. For tab space,
Yes,
you don't
sir.
need to split. It will automatically convert the data into internal table without any explicit conversion.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Copy all of this. Let's save the file in your local system. So local system in the sense when you are working in the server, we are working in the remote system, right? You have to save this file in remote system only. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Remote system. Yes.
Some employee data. Save this file in some folder, right? Now,
Yes, sir.
now you know the file format. It contains employee ID, employee name, and city. Now let's create a program.
Structure.
So we have function modules as well as class methods for this to upload the text file into SAP.
Internet.
Okay. We can
Yes,
use
sir.
function modules or class methods.
Function module.
Create a program. Text file upload. Saving it in the local object, but you should save it in a package when you are working in the projects. Now,
Yes, sir.
let's define one type structure.
Begin of. Name.
What is the first field we have in the file?
Employee.
Employee
Employee ID. Type.
ID.
Let's take some If you have specific data element, take this. For example, for now I'll take like this. Okay. If you know the specific data element, provide the data element. For EMP name, I'll take 20.
TV data.
I'm defining internal table.
Table of TV. Okay.
Now, to upload the file, what we need? To upload the file, what we need? A input, right? To select the file path, we need a parameter to select the file from our local system or to provide the file path, right? I'll define one parameter. For now, I'll take some string type.
So,
So depends on the function module, we'll change the type later. Now, we're done with the type structure and input. File path, provide the file path as
yes, sir.
function text. These are file path, but I don't have any F4 help here to select the directory, file folder.
Yes, sir.
When you are uploading something in the browser or in the email, it will ask for a folder, right? It will open one separate window. There we can select all the files, right? By going through the
Yes,
different
sir.
folders. So here also we
Yes,
need to
sir.
add that option.
Okay, sir.
So we'll see that later. But first, we'll try to upload the sample data. Now, what we need to do, we need to upload the file, right?
Yes, sir. So, we
Yes,
have to
sir.
upload the file.
For that, we have different function modules. First one is GUI upload pattern. GUI upload, GUI download. Upload is to upload the file to internal table. GUI download is to download the internal
Down.
table data into file.
Yes, sir.
Here, in place of file name, you have to provide your file path.
Yes, sir.
That is the input.
Yes, sir.
File type
Yes,
is
sir.
ASCII. Hash field separator. Hash field separator nothing but if you have given tab
Lab.
space, if you have given tab space, provide X. Okay. If
Okay,
you have
sir.
given tab space. These are all optional. Now here, what you need to pass here? Data tab,
IT
whatever the.
internal
So
data.
this will work only in case of tab space. Okay. It will
Yes, sir.
automatically populate the data into individual fields. If you are using any separator, what you need to do? You need to first read the complete record. Then you need to split the data into corresponding fields. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
Now I've uploaded the data.
Display of IT data.
Out, outputs.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
See, I'm writing the program, but if you type in Google, you'll get hundreds of examples. You don't need to write single piece of code. You can copy and paste. You'll be having a lot of examples. But only thing is you need to understand the concept, how it is working,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Sir, okay, sir.
exception.
So here we have written 68 lines of code, but how many lines we actually typed, right?
Yes,
Because
sir.
beginners will worry about
10.
number of lines in the program, right?
Program.
If
Yes,
you have
sir.
1,000 lines of code in one program, they'll start worrying. How can I understand this 1,000 lines of code, right?
Yes,
Actually,
sir.
most of them are generated through some function modules or method calls. So let's display the data. Let me keep a breakpoint here. What is the type of file name? I did not check this because we have taken type string here, right? Before that, let's check what is the type of this parameter.
Should same
Type
type
string only.
string.
So no issue. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
In some function modules, it will be some character char 200, right? So we have to take corresponding type. Now keep a breakpoint here.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
debug it. Now we have to provide the file path manually because we did not add that F4 help as of now, right? So where is
Yes,
our
sir.
file? Is it desktop?
And yes,
This one,
well,
right?
yes, sir. Employee data.
Maybe go to properties. Can I find? Yeah, file path is here in properties slash employee data. This is my file path. Provide here
Yes, sir.
manually for now, but we should add
Okay.
F4 help. Okay,
Mm. Yes,
so execute.
Yes, sir.
It is empty. F6. Allow
yes,
to upload the data.
yes.
What is the sub RC?
Mm.
0.
0.
So no exceptions are raised, right?
Yes, sir.
No exceptions are raised. It is successful. How many records copied? 4 records. Include the
4.
tabix also.
Yes,
Tabix is
sir.
4.
4.
So 4 records are automatically
Other.
converted into corresponding fields,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Because we are using tab
Tab.
separator. And from tab
Tabs.
separator, we are using this hash field separator equal to X, right?
Yes, sir.
So we are able to convert the data into internal table. From here, by using this internal table data, whatever the functionality you are going to execute, that is up to the requirement. You can display it
Yes,
as
sir.
ALV report, or you can post it to AL11 folder as a application server file, or you can call one BAPI function module to upload into SAP, or you can call BDC programming by using this internal table data to create the records in SAP, or you can use direct table update,
To
right?
insert or modify.
Loop
Uh,
at IT data into some WA data. You can also use inline declaration here. End loop. In between, you can call BDC or
look it.
BAPI
Take it.
or
Direct internal table.
direct
Direct.
table updates.
Wait.
Updating the data to database tables, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You can use any of these methods. Before that, before going to do all these things, if you are using direct table update, it is very important to validate the data. Okay, here after reading the file data, here in the loop, validate the data.
Data.
Okay, if that employee ID is a valid employee ID or not,
Yes.
if that city is a valid city or not, you have to validate that.
For direct develop data, sir.
Because in BDC or BAPI, right, they'll have their own validations, standard validations already implemented
Okay, sir.
in BDC programs and BAPI function modules. Validations are already in place. If you don't pass any
Yes.
mandatory data, it will raise error. But it is recommended to validate for anything, right?
Yes, sir.
But
Yes,
even if
sir.
you don't validate, BDCR BAPI will handle that errors, right?
Yes, sir.
So inside the loop, you're going to call that specific functionality. So let's assume, okay, we are able to upload the data into internal table, right? Now let's see how to download the data into local file.
Local file. Yes, sir.
For that, the function module is GUI
Download.
download.
Okay.
Here what you need to pass in place of file name,
File name, parameter.
file path where you
So,
want to download,
so, yes,
okay?
sir.
And the file name. I'll
Yes,
name
sir.
this as, I've changed the file name, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Where you want to download the file and what is the internal table you want to download.
IT data.
Here you have to pass the internal table. I'll download this as a Excel file,
Yes, sir.
XLS or data, whatever the format you want, you can give here, okay? File type is ASCII and append. What is append? Append means first time you already downloaded data into one file, right? Second time you executed the same program. You have already created this file, right? Second time, if you want to add data to this file, right? You are already having some data in the file. When you run this program second time, if you want to add the data to the existing data of the file at the end, then use append statement.
Append.
Okay. Activate.
Give
Yeah, breakpoint is already there.
breakpoint.
Provide the file path to upload the file. So
Yes,
that
sir.
should be available in your local system.
Okay.
Local system in the sense, since we are working in the application server, this is our local system now, right? In the remote server. Remote server is your local system. If you have GUI in your laptop, then your laptop is the local system, right?
Yes, sir.
But here we are accessing GUI and all other SAP servers in this remote system. So this is our local system.
Yes, sir.
I think it is taking time.
Connected to debugger.
I think there should be a pop-up here. Let me terminate the program and start again.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Now, this is to download the file. Hello?
Okay, sir.
Then, yeah, this is the file downloaded. Open the file. So the
Yes,
file is
sir.
downloaded here in the form of Excel.
Excel.
If you give txt, it will download as txt file.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay, please try creating some upload programs. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so tomorrow we'll complete this data conversions, including
Okay, sir.
Excel files and BDC.
Yes.
Day after
But,
tomorrow, we'll work on BAPIs. Okay,
yes, sir.
so please try with your own examples. Okay.
Mm, yes, sir.